It was one of the most chaotic and, yes, one of the most terrifying weeks of my life. Absolute mayhem in Bangkok as the city descended into guerrilla warfare. And as the bullets flew, believe me, no one quite knew what was going on. On one side, the Thai military, precision-trained and bristling with weapons. On the other, the red shirts. Their arsenal doesn't amount to much more than firecrackers and slingshots. It's a terrible mismatch, a David and Goliath battle destined to end in death and disappointment.
Down, down, down!
It was the week Bangkok burned. Civil war played out in the heart of one of the world's busiest cities.
Stay down, stay down.
It's just too dangerous to stay here. At its height, let's get out of here. We found ourselves caught in the crossfire of this bloody power struggle between Thailand's richest and poorest. They've smashed through the barricade and they're going in. On one side, the red shirts, supporters of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, a motley crew of protesters using whatever they had at hand to hold the city to ransom. On the other, the full might of the Thai army, trying to seize back control and crush the dissidents. On Wednesday, the army brought down its iron fist, relentlessly moving in on the thousands of protesters occupying Bangkok's boutique shopping district with tanks and bullets.
The one thing it is not, is it's been reported as a skirmish. This is not a skirmish. You can die out there.
It was a flashpoint that had been coming for months in the simmering world of Thai politics. This is a country that's seen a coup on average every 4 years for the past 7 decades.
This has never been about democracy, rule of law, justice. If it had been, this conflict would have finished long ago. Democracy Thai style is not what we understand in Australia.
David Dufal, Australia's former defence attaché to Thailand, has lived in Bangkok for 30 years.
That's Big Bang.
As the smoke and dust settle in the wake of the crackdown, he and 15 million other residents wonder what's next.
When you have a circumstance where corruption is generic, there's not a great deal that you can point to and say, well, this is an honest government and this is going to happen for the next 4 or 5 years and we'll be right. We're on the way. We're on the track of decent democracy and government. That's not going to happen tomorrow.
The storm may have calmed, but this is a conflict that has left Thailand deeply divided. Central to the violence, ex-Prime Minister and billionaire businessman Thaksin Shinawatra. He was thrown out of power in a military-backed coup in 2006 and lives in self-imposed exile. While Bangkok imploded, he was seen shopping in Paris.
I said nothing except my place.
What does he want, power or his money?
It's all about the ego of one particular person and also, of course, aided and supported by many of his friends in this country. And he does have a lot of friends, there's no question about that.
His successors froze nearly $2 billion of his fortune and laid charges of corruption. But in power, he'd been hugely popular, especially among Thailand's poorest, mostly villagers and farmers. It's these ever-loyal followers who want to see Thaksin back leading Thailand and call themselves the Red Shirts.
He wants to cause as much mayhem as possible and, of course, get himself back into the good books with the Thai people.
But many doubt the validity of Thaksin's popularity and accuse him of paying his followers, even of funding a militia fighting under the cover of the Red Shirt movement.
He is very, very seriously intent on regaining power. And one of the ways in which, of course, he's clearly doing this is by paying all these protesters.
As the standoff intensified on Tuesday, we set off to find out for ourselves.
This is exactly why we're on the back of a scooter now. It's just easier to get through these military checkpoints.
We crossed the front line into the Red Shirt stronghold, a bamboo fortress in the heart of Bangkok, in search of the man leading this uprising.
It's hard to believe that this is actually the top end of town, where all the big retail stores are and the businesses,
The headquarters of commerce. But for the past few weeks, the past many weeks in fact, the poorest of the poor have made this their home. They've built all of these barricades out of whatever they can get hold of, tyres and bamboo, and they've sharpened the bamboo even, a genuine barricade. But we're going to see if we can get through. This is where there've been many of the flashpoints in the protest, but we'll see if we can get through, because we want to get in here to what's known as the red zone. Hello, hello. So, can we come through? Can we go through to this area?
Yes.
Okay, you're safe?
Yes, sure.
Safe now?
Safe here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Well, we made it. This is what they call the red zone. It's the epicentre of the protest, and as you can see, they're pretty well set up here. They've been camped here for more than 2 months, and they've got absolutely no sign at all that they're about to leave. But there's one man that we've come here to try and find. He's one of the leaders of the red shirts. In fact, the government want to find him as well, and he's surrounded by all these people right in the heart of it all, and we're going to go and see if we can get an interview with him.
Whether you believe they're motivated by a manipulating billionaire, there are some 2 million Thais devoted to a new democracy. Deep inside the Red Shirts camp, amid the peace-loving protesters and massage tables, we found more of a sit-in than a civil war. We also found our man.
Very good to meet you. Thank you very much.
You want democracy?
I just say to the government that a good government, you must listen to the people. And a good government must not let the people die. And a good one must choose the peaceful way to solve every crisis in this country.
Dr. Weng Tojarakan is the friendly face of the Red Shirt movement. He's known as a moderate and a genuine campaigner for a corruption-free Thai democracy. He's adamant he and his people are no puppets for a billionaire in exile.
Then what do you say to the criticism that this is not a genuine movement of people power at all, that your protesters are being paid to be here?
Everybody equally facing the debt. So how can you pay? How many money have you to pay for the people to die?
But Dr. Weng's vision of peaceful people power wasn't what we found when we met his own hardline followers just a city block away. We ventured forward to the makeshift battlements of the anti-government protesters, met the militia who took Bangkok hostage. Make no mistake, they may not be armed with much.
What have you got here? This is your weapon? Yeah, slingshot.
But they have a more powerful weapon: anger.
So there was definitely a militia element to them.
Well, what we've seen is really akin to urban guerrilla warfare. You can see the tactics that the protesters have employed, you know, a 200-yard gap between them and the army, and throwing Molotov cocktails, which, by the way, are lethal weapons.
Now, the Thai military has flexed its muscle many times in this country's power struggles, but this time showed uncharacteristic restraint. For 2 months, the protesters had been allowed to strangle Bangkok, but patience finally ran out. Thailand's rulers wanted their city back. It's an incredibly tense situation. Only 24 hours ago, we were with the red shirts, the protesters, locked in their area, and we could see how they were fighting. Now, we're with the Thai military, and we can watch as they've aggressively pushed in to this red zone in here. The protesters have cleared out. I mean, it's abandoned around here now. Soldiers are reclaiming all the ground they'd lost over the last 2 months. As the tanks moved in, the world held its breath. It was undoubtedly going to be the red shirts' last stand. In the end, defeat was swift. Protest and defiance gave way to panic and fear. The only question was how brutal the army was prepared to be. Most of the casualties were brought here to a hospital just blocks from the violence, treated by Dr. Wanchakri Kamputa.
This is one of patient. He was gunshot wound at the leg, right leg, from out in here and out here.
So the bullet went in through the back of his leg and straight through. They've cleaned it up as best they can, and remarkably quickly, but it's hard to imagine this was the scene of so much violence and killing. Guerrilla warfare in Bangkok's main mall. But then, think about the contrast and it makes some sense. This was, after all, a struggle about money and power between Thailand's richest and poorest.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, money is behind most motives.
The battle has already been fought and lost for the red shirts. But you get the feeling the real war is about to begin.
Once they get this mess cleaned up, they really have to put their heads down and try to find a way forward out of this political mass of discontent, if you like, but also they have to look at the economy and what this has cost the economy, and the image of the country too, by the way, which is not standing terribly well at the moment. But they'll get there.
This is Thailand.
This is Thailand.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.